Welcome y'all to Classic Treats YouTube channel. My name is Jennifer and today I'm going to teach you how to make an eggnog cake for the holidays. So first things first, we're going to take 1 cup of butter. It's got to be softened though. We're going to go ahead, turn it on to medium-low speed, just enough to get it well blended. We want it light, fluffy, and just about there. So what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and get ready to add 1 cup of granulated sugar. We're going to let that blend for a little bit before we add the brown sugar. Alright, so for the brown sugar we're going to do 1 cup, and it's got to be light brown sugar. You don't want loose sugar all over the place. So. Now, you need to turn it up a little bit higher, not too high, otherwise you're going to have sugar and butter all over the place. Alright, so it's pretty well incorporated, so we're going to turn the speed down low. We're going to take 6 eggs. Okay, we're going to drop them in one by one until all of them are completely blended in. Okay, in the meantime, while that's blending, you're going to sift your flour. This recipe calls for 3 cups cake flour. Now, there is a difference between red flour, cake flour, and all-purpose flour. For cakes, you want to use the ultra-fine cake flour. In this instance, I'm using Swan's Down. You can also use Pillsbury, or if you're gluten-free, then you might end up having to use the Arrow Mills gluten-free baking flour. So, that's well blended. I've already got 2 cups pre-sifted. You're going to want to sift it twice. Once with the flour by itself, and the second time, after you've measured out the 3 cups, you're going to sift it again with your spices. So, again, I have 2 cups flour already in the sifter. I've got the 3rd cup here. We're just going to level it off. Now, a good tip is you don't want to take the measuring cup and dig it into the flour. You're going to end up with flour all over the floor, all over you, and it's just going to be an all-in-general mess. Plus, you're going to lose the air that's been incorporated from the sifting. So I've already got 2 cups already in the sifter. I've got my 3rd cup here. So I'm going to pour the 3rd cup already into this. Okay. So this excess flour is going to be used for the pans. So just set that aside. So we've already got the flour here. We're going to need to get salt, baking powder, baking soda, and nutmeg. We're going to add it to the 3 cups flour that was already pre-sifted, and then we're going to sift it again. So I'm going to go ahead and measure everything out. For the nutmeg, we're going to want half a teaspoon. In this case, I'm using a 1/4 teaspoon because it will not fit into this tiny little bowl. So I'm going to measure out the 1/4 teaspoon of salt over a trash can. It eliminates a mess. That, and if you overpour, then that's fine too. So we're just going to level it off. Pour that into the flour mixture. Now we're going to take half a teaspoon, and we're going to do a half a teaspoon of baking soda. That's a half a teaspoon of baking soda. And again, you want to level it off and add it in there. Last ingredient for the flour mixture is going to be baking powder. Now, baking powder helps rising of the product. So we're going to add 1 teaspoon. Now we are going to sift. With this kind of sifter, I pretty much like to rock the handle back and forth. I don't like to do a full turn because it has a tendency to just fling flour and spices up into the air, and then you've got an additional mess to clean up. So we're just going to rock it back and forth gently until everything is incorporated and on the paper towel. Alright, now that we have all of that incorporated, I'm going to set that aside. And now what we're going to do is we're going to take 1.5 cups of already prepared eggnog. In this case, I'm using dairy-free eggnog since I'm allergic to dairy. You can use regular eggnog if you choose to. So we're going to slowly pour maybe about 1/4 cup into there. Okay, set that aside. Now, we're going to take the flour mixture, scoot it on over close to the mixer. We're going to take a spoon, and we're going to spoon the flour into the mixture. Just a little at a time. Make sure the speed is on low, because flour will fly. I've done that many times where I've had to clean flour off floor, counters, and the wall, not including myself. So, I'm just going to do 1 spoon at a time, and if it takes a little while, so be it. This will ensure that all the flour gets into the batter and not onto you. Okay, now, typically this doesn't happen to me, but I forgot one ingredient: vanilla. Vanilla extract is important to this. It helps infuse flavors. So, this recipe calls for 1 teaspoon. Now, for those who need a little bit of guidance measuring, I would actually pour this into a teaspoon. But since I've been doing this for years, we are going to just use the cap. Slowly pour that in there. Now, on top of that, I have already added 1 cup of the flour mixture. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the eggnog and pour maybe about another 1/2 cup, 1/4 to 1/2 cup. Doesn't have to be exact. Then we're going to spoon more of the flour mixture. Alright, now we're going to take the rest of the remaining eggnog and slowly pour it into the batter. This way you can judge, see if there's maybe too much liquid, not enough, or if it's just right. That's only if you're not using an actual measuring cup, but I personally recommend always using a measuring cup for everything. We're going to spoon the remaining flour mixture into the batter. Now, when you get down to the part where you can no longer spoon the flour mixture into the batter, just lift the paper towel. That's why these things come in handy. And we are going to slowly pour the flour into the batter. Now, we'll turn this off. Make sure your device is always turned off before putting your hand in there or removing any attachment. So we're going to take our spatula and we are going to wipe down the paddle. Okay, now we're going to take the spatula and we're going to run it along the side of the bowl. Get all that extra flour and batter that was thrown on the side. Okay, we're going to scoop all the way down to the bottom of the bowl. Get any of the loose butter and sugar that may have been missed by the paddle. Pardon me. Okay, give it a little bit of a mix. Make sure everything is incorporated.